I'm removing bolts and brackets at the rear of the frame, the muffler hangers, the rear fender brackets, the tire carrier and the bracket for the tire carrier, and I'm also removing the fuel lines that run to the front of the frame. I am removing all of the brake lines and brake hoses next. So this line that goes all the way down the frame to the back, the cross lines, the brake hoses that go to each of the wheels, and the same in the front. The brake hose here, the brake hose on the other side. I'm going to start with lubricating or spraying some WD-40 on all of these fittings so that they break loose a little easier. After removing the brake lines and hoses from the car, I reassembled them to show you how simple the system is without an ABS involved. So here we have two lines that are connected at the master cylinder. This line goes to the front wheels, and these rubber hoses connect to the brake calipers on either side. And this other line goes to the rear. And you can see here where it tees off and goes to the passenger rear, and then here the line is to the driver's side rear. To show how much more complicated a system is with ABS, this is my '89 Corvette, and this is the master cylinders. There's two lines from the master cylinder that go to the ABS, and then which is behind the driver's seat, and then from there it runs, there's a line that runs to the front left tire, a line that runs here and across over to the front right tire, and then in the back there's one line that comes off of the ABS that tees and then goes to each of the rear tires. Next, I'm removing the differential and rear suspension from the frame. I am going to start by removing, disconnecting all of the connection points to the frame, the parking brake cable, the trailing arms, the shocks, and where this cross member connects to the frame, and then of course where the differential connects. But before I do that, I'm going to release the tension on this transverse leaf spring on either side, because it's probably easier to do it while it's connected to the frame than it would be later. With the help of my son, I was able to get the transverse leaf spring disconnected. Yeah, it was a mistake not to disconnect that before I took the body off of the frame. With the body off of the frame, there's just not enough weight to be able to jack up the leaf spring and take the tension off. So I had to have my son stand on the frame while I jacked it up. And that was just enough weight to be able to take some tension off the spring before I disconnected the bolt. To remove the parking brake cable, pull this pin, and if you saw on the video, it was pretty difficult to pull the pin. I had to use a pair of needle nose pliers and a pry bar to pull this pin off. And once you have the pin out, slide the cable slide the cable over and then to where this thin part of the cable is, and you can pull it through this slot in the bracket. Another item I had trouble disconnecting was this cross member. I removed the bolts from either side and lifted the frame and tried to drop it down, but it wouldn't come loose. So I've decided to disconnect the differential from this cross member and remove the differential and other suspension components and worry about that cross member after I get those other things out of the way.